TASAF is an initiative, organization established by the government about 18 years ago. It was established in the year 2000 after implementing a small pilot in 8 poor districts. It's an initiative aimed at contributing to government effort to reduce poverty. It's a nationwide program. It's currently in the 3rd planning cycle phase. Started with the first phase in the year 2000 for 5 years, which covered about a third of the country in terms of districts. And then after the first phase, the second phase, it was scaled up to cover the entire country. And as you know, Tanzania is the United Republic, so it is implemented both on the mainland as well as in Zanzibar. And currently in the 3rd phase, TASAF is implementing productive social safety net, which has 3 components focusing the same family. There's the conditional cash transfer, which is aimed at investing in human capital, development, then public works, which is implemented during seasonal shocks to ensure that the same household has income during that difficult time. And the 3rd component is livelihoods enhancement, which is essentially a strategy for graduation, because after receiving these transfers through conditional cash transfer in public works, and then they can engage in productive activities, economic activities, and generate income from their own projects. Right from when TASAF started, we've been working hand in hand with a view to ensuring that we facilitate and contribute to enhancing decentralization. And when we talk about decentralization, you see decentralization refers to 3 key elements. One is the administrative decentralization, having to do with personnel. Then fiscal decentralization, having to do with managing resources, mobilizing resources. And then political decentralization, where you have these elected officials, the councillors, and so forth. So along with implementation through TASAF, we use the decentralized structure. And in terms of governance, we have governance level at the village level. Then we have governance level at the local government, or like district level. And then the 3rd is at the national level. So in terms of implementation, we sign MOU with the local government authorities, and then we agree on roles and responsibilities. And then based on the MOU and the guidelines that we provide to the local government authorities, then they are responsible for oversight, provision of technical support, and so forth and so forth. And funds for implementation of projects are managed by local government authorities. And for instance, during the first phase, that is the first 5 years, we implemented 1,704 community projects. These are projects which are managed by communities themselves. And during the second phase, we implemented 12,337 projects. So you can see more than 14,000 projects have been implemented using that arrangement. And in the 3rd phase, what is really new is the conditional cash transfer. And we had to do a pilot because we didn't have a case where it has been administered using that modality. So we implemented a small pilot in 3 districts, delivering conditional cash transfer using communities through a decentralized system. It was very successful. It was evaluated independently, and then the government decided to scale up the operation to cover the entire country. So that decentralization system which we are currently using in the implementation of all these components. Despite impressive achievement, because in Tanzania, when we talk about TASAF, it's an initiative which is known by everybody. It's a household name when we talk about TASAF in Tanzania. What I would cite as the main challenge is capacity building. You see, in the local government, you have so many staff, and you invest in capacity building, but there is mobility. Should I say huge mobility in terms of those who get transferred or who opt to go to other firms, those who get promoted, or those who opt to move from being technicians to politicians, those who go for further education, those who retire. So the main challenge is capacity building. But another thing also related to capacity building, for instance, during the third phase, where we are implementing conditional cash transfer, which requires precision, high precision, because we are dealing with individuals. So we have invested a lot in systems development. And these systems are managed by local government. So these are decentralized. So when I talk about capacity building, when it comes to systems, it means you have to invest even more in terms of capacity building. And just to give you an example, what we did differently in the third phase compared to the other two phases, rollout of the first phase or the third phase, because of challenges of capacity, was phased. We were not able to start in all local government authorities. We had to categorize local government authorities into 5 phases, or we call them these waves. But the idea was to make sure that we build adequate capacity to be able to deliver and ensure that implementation is well managed. So I should cite capacity as the main challenge when we are talking about decentralization. What I would share is something very positive. When you are working through a decentralized system, even if you have a huge program, it doesn't sound like a huge program, because each local government is complete. We are currently, in Tanzania currently, there are 185 local government authorities. So for instance, for one component, we can disburse, because for one component, for the conditional cash transfer, funds are disbursed after every 2 months. So in a month, there was time when we were disbursing even up to 20 million USD in a month. Though currently there could be 18, could be 16 million. Still, that's a lot of money. So it's really a huge program. But since you are dealing with individual local government authorities, it doesn't seem like it's a huge job, because each local government authority is complete. So it's like not such a big program, because in one local government authority they have their director, they have their staff. So once they get money, they will administer money according to the guidelines that you've agreed on, produce a report, and then you produce. So I should say that when we are working through a decentralized governance structure, the complexness, the complexity of the operation is somewhat not vivid, because it's like small organizations or institutions that are really involved in the implementation. One lesson is, particularly when you are doing these poverty reduction interventions, challenge of overheads. And the government indeed decided to go this way because of having a program which is really cost effective. Because under this approach, at the lowest level, we have a committee which works under the oversight of the village council. Because at the village level, which is the governance level, you have the village council and you have the village assembly. The village council is elected every 5 years. The village assembly is everybody who is an adult. So these two form the village government. So under the village council, you have a team of 14 members, which is democratically elected, which is responsible for day-to-day implementation management. And this team is not paid, is not salaried. It is volunteering. So, for instance, currently, we have about 140,000 members of this committee just volunteering to facilitate implementation. So you can imagine how much saving you are making through this arrangement. So this is one of the things that I could say that other countries may want to learn from Tanzania. Because these committees are very motivated. They are not paid. You know, when you talk about motivation, sometimes you think about money. But the fact that they get exposure, they are recognized, they are respected, they are trusted by their fellow villagers, indeed is an incentive for them. And actually we tell them, even if you are poor, you have to opt. If you want to be a committee member, you cannot be a beneficiary. You wonder that the poor don't want to be beneficiaries, they want to be committee members and volunteer and work and support their colleagues. So indeed, this is one of the things that I would say that could be good for other countries to learn and get from Tanzania to run such a huge program. But those who are responsible for day-to-day implementation management are indeed volunteering. In Tanzania, the government wanted to implement a cash transfer program through a social fund. You see? So you are leveraging the same resources, you see? You don't have to buy another car for the cash transfer program. You don't have to buy another computer for the cash transfer program. You don't have to appoint another coordinator or manager for the cash transfer program. So you are using the social fund to deliver the cash transfer program. So essentially, the conditional cash transfer program, public works program, livelihoods enhancement program, infrastructure development program, they are all delivered through a social fund. So this has really helped a lot in terms of reducing the overhead costs. And no wonder that's why this program is very attractive even to development partners. Because currently we have 10 development partners who are working with the government supporting this initiative. And about 4 more. I still discussing with the government to see if they can also join and support this initiative. And you see, when a lot of resources go to the beneficiaries, because you have minimal overheads, it means you have a big impact. Though we have an impact evaluation, because it's good to talk about impact from the impact evaluation report, and we've collected midline last month in September, but and the report, of course, not yet out. Probably next month you can have draft results or initial indicative results. But when you go to the field, you can see indeed that people are changing. People are changing. There is impact. So indeed, decentralization is helping a lot. And when you work through this, you are building capacity of people who will not leave. And when the government was designing this program, there was a discussion with development partners. For instance, identifying beneficiaries. This is the most crucial part of social protection program. Because if you identify wrong beneficiaries, then you will not be reducing poverty because you are dealing with people who are not poor. Because typically in other countries, such a sensitive assignment is contracted out to firms. But the government was firm and said through the decentralized arrangement will do targeting or identification of beneficiaries. So that process was really undertaken at this arrangement. The village councils supervised the process. The community committees listed people, captured, collected data which was captured to the MIS. And then finally we got the beneficiaries. And this program is among best programs in the world that have made very, very good targeting. Inclusion is hardly 3%. So what I just wanted to emphasize and also to urge other countries is to make every effort to enhance our decentralization systems, because they will be there. When you use the other arrangements, it is here today, tomorrow it's not there. But you invest in decentralization, these are citizens, these are people who are there today and tomorrow, and so you can be sure of sustainability.